It looks like Michael Harris doesn't really know how far this ball is going to go at first, but he takes off, gets to the wall, leaps basically fully over the thing. Hello, everybody, and welcome back to another episode of the Valentine Sports Show. I am your host, Frank Rampin. September 2nd is the date. 1 month, less than a month actually, until the end of the MLB regular season. Playoff picture is coming to fruition, and the final month of Oakland A's baseball is here. Mixed emotions for me. Had to put my Oakland jersey on. Tough month it is for Oakland sports fans and the Bay Area as a whole. So let's dive right into this one with our stat of the week. And this one, oh boy. I've talked a little bit about the White Sox the past couple weeks because they are historically bad. Wow. So the White Sox this year, they're 31 and 107. 31 and 107. They have 31 wins, and they also have 31 blown saves. When your number of blown saves equals or is anywhere near, honestly, your number of wins on the season, you know it's been a rough year, and man, on the South Side, it's been a horrible year. On pace for 127 losses, would be the second most of all time. The only other team to lose more games was the 1899 Cleveland Spiders. They lost 134 games, but the catch with that is, in 1899, the Cleveland Spiders, that season they only played 154 games. That was before the 162 total that we have now. So this would be the most losses ever in a 162 game season in the modern era of baseball. Like, this is ridiculous. So, but at the same time, let's just take a second to think about how historically bad that Cleveland Spiders team was. They lost 134 of 154. They only won 20 games, and they lost 101 games on the road. Think about that. That's not even possible to do anymore because you only play 81 games on the road, 81 at home, 81 on the road. They lost 101 road games. Unbelievable. But the White Sox this year on pace to be the worst team in the modern era. And I just mentioned September is among us. Last month of the regular season is going to be a lot of fun. 16 teams either in a playoff spot or within 5 games of a playoff spot. So it's going to be a sprint to the finish. It's going to be fun to see who gets those last wildcard spots in both leagues. August monthly awards, not the players of the week, but the highest numbers for each offensive category. So O'Neal Cruz, the former shortstop, now moved to center field for the Pittsburgh Pirates, played his first couple games in the outfield this past week. O'Neal Cruz led the league in batting average with a .389 average over the month of August. Shohei Ohtani and Aaron Judge both tied, leading their leagues respectively, the American and the National League, because now they're in separate ones, which honestly is great for baseball. They might win MVP every single year since they have separated. They both hit 12 homers in the month of August. Matt Olson, who's been very cold, my boy right here, Matty O, very cold this year, but he had a great month of August. 27 runs knocked in the month. And Ohtani also led the National League and the whole league in steals with 15. So a 12-homer, 15-steal month for Shohei Ohtani. He's an absolute psycho. He's your National League Player of the Month. And so usually, here on the Bobby Valentine Sports Show, we get you a play of the week, right? Pick out a great play that someone has made throughout baseball. This week was impossible. I was unable to come up with just one. This week was the week of the home run robbery. The week of the robbery, I've been calling it. What just happened over the course of this week? I'll let you watch for yourself. So we'll start off here in Cincinnati with a familiar foe. We've seen him here on the play of the week a few times. Blake Perkins. He's an unbelievable center fielder for the Milwaukee Brewers. Noelvi Marte at the dish for the Reds. Cracks one high and deep in the air to center field in a tie game at the bottom of the 6th. Blake Perkins ranges back to the 404 sign, jumps off the wall, and takes a homer away. The second time he's been on this for robbing a home run this year. Blake Perkins times it up perfectly, foot on the wall, full extension over the yellow line. What a play from Blake Perkins, his second time being here again. But we got another one. Same player earlier in the week, this time at home, Tyro Estrada high and deep to left center field. Blake Perkins back to the notch at left center field, and he takes another home run off the board. Blake Perkins, the master of the home run robbery this year. What a play this one was. Had to run a long way, timed his leap perfectly, and brought another long ball back. Blake Perkins, you are amazing. And yep, look, I got it. That's the ball. Another robbed home run from Blake Perkins. He's been so good in the outfield for this Brewers team. But we're not done. we're not done. Let's go out to Minute Maid Park in Houston. Yordan Alvarez, he's had a 3 home run game this week. He's had a 2 home run game this week. Another one, high drive to right field. Garrett Hampson yanks that one back. What a play that was from the Kansas City right fielder Garrett Hampson, taking away a home run from Yordan Alvarez. He's smiling because he knows he's probably going to hit another one in the next at bat. But look at this. Full extension, yanking that one back over the yellow. Whew, what a play from Garrett Hampson. But still, we're not done. Let's go to Nationals Park in Washington. Nestor Cortez, Andres Chaparro, looking for home run number 2 of his career, high and deep to left center, but no, the big man, 6'7", Aaron Judge, reaches up and yanks that one back, fires back into Gleyber Torres, who fires to first, double play. Aaron Judge takes away a home run after he's hit so many in this month of August, fires it back into the cutoff man to complete the double play. 8-4-3, double play for the Yanks, knocks off James Wood. What a play from Aaron Judge. He doesn't just hit home runs, he takes them away too. And now, we've gotten to the finale here, the real plays of the week that we've been waiting for all day long. This one, Saturday night, takes us out to Citizens Bank Park in Philadelphia. Austin Hayes rips a slider off of Max Fried high and deep to right center field. It looks like Michael Harris doesn't really know how far this ball is going to go at first, but he takes off, gets to the wall, leaps basically fully over the thing, almost falls over it, and brings back an Austin Hayes bomb. It looked like Michael Harris at first didn't think this ball was as deep as it was, but he beelines it back to the wall, and that is well over the fence. 5 feet maybe over the fence for Michael Harris. Yanks that one back. What an unbelievable play that was. He looked like a first baseman making that play over the dugout. But no, he got all the way back to the wall and made that play. Are you kidding me? Michael Harris, the second, that might be the play of the year. But if it wasn't just this week in MLB, that would be the standalone play of the week. But earlier in the week, let's look at the situation here. Bottom of the 9th, 1 out, runners on first and second, Rangers up 4-3. Andrew Vaughn at the dish. Let's see what happens. 1-2 pitch from Andrew Chafin, ripped high and deep to left. Travis Jankowski at the wall, at the track, leaps, and he brings back a walk-off 3-run home run. Travis Jankowski times his leap perfectly, scales the wall, and brings back a would-have-been walk-off home run from Andrew Vaughn. What a play. Potentially the play of the year from Travis Jankowski, but this week was the week of the robberies. Blake Perkins with 2, Garrett Hampson with 1, Aaron Judge with 1, Michael Harris with the potential play of the year, and Travis Jankowski with another potential play of the year. What just happened this week in the MLB with the home run robbery? The week of the robbery, what the hell just happened? So that was a pretty exciting little montage there. I felt like I had to get all those in for you because I couldn't pick. It was unbelievable. Every other day I was like, oh my God, someone else just robbed a homer. On Saturday, 3 of those were from Saturday. Garrett Hampson was from Saturday. Michael Harris was from Saturday. And who else? Another one from Saturday. Oh no, excuse me. That was it. My bad. Hey, that's on me. But going from our home run robbery, the week of the home run robbery, the montage of that, from that to the game of the week. So this game of the week also, if there's one baseball game that I would have wanted to be at this year that I wasn't at, I think I'd have to pick this one. And I think you're going to see why very, very quickly. So not pick things up. Let's just go from the beginning. Leadoff batter in the top of the first, Shohei Ohtani, Dodgers versus D-backs at Chase Field. He's leading off the ball game. Works a 3-2 count on the 8th pitch. He absolutely smokes that one high and deep to left center field. Leadoff home run for Ohtani, his 44th of the year. And he knew that one right off the bat. Took a good look at that one. Get this bat out of here. Leadoff home run from Shohei. 44 on the season. And now that's going to bring up Mookie Betts. Second pitch to Mookie, hanging off speed, and he's going to crush that one way out of here to left. So back-to-back home runs from Shohei Ohtani and Mookie Betts to start the game. And man, if you're a Dodgers fan or really just a baseball fan in general, couldn't have asked for a better start. So back-to-back from Shohei and Mookie, and here comes Freddie Freeman. First pitch swinging over the pool in right center field, back-to-back home runs for Mookie Betts, or for Shohei Ohtani, Mookie Betts, and Freddie Freeman. First time in Dodgers franchise history that they have hit 3 straight home runs to start the game, and it's the first trio of former MVPs to hit back-to-back home runs in the history of baseball. So a absolutely wild start to this one here in the desert at Chase Field. Back-to-back home runs to start the game from Freddie Freeman, Mookie Betts, and Shohei Ohtani. So let's go to the bottom of the first inning, huh? Why not? Who's leading off for the D-backs? Corbin Carroll, the speedster, the typical right fielder for this D-backs team. 1-1 pitch, skied out there to deep center field. Kevin Kiermaier back, the former Platinum Glover, back at the wall, leaps, and he cannot make the play. That one gets away from, and Corbin Carroll can fly. He's rounding third, getting the wave, and Kiermaier's got no chance to throw him out. Inside the park home run to lead off the game for Corbin Carroll. So what a start we have to this ball game in Chase Field. Back to back to back from Shohei, Mookie, and Freddie, and then the bottom half of the first, an inside the park home run to lead things off. The first Diamondbacks player with a leadoff inside the park homer, and the first in MLB since Kevin Kiermaier, the guy who couldn't make the play back in 2022. And this was the second game in MLB history with a leadoff outside the park homer and a leadoff inside the park homer. The first one was September 29th, 1892, between the Chicago Colts and the Cincinnati Reds. So a little bit of history there, and what an absolute wild start this was to this one. So now we're going to move ahead here. Still in the first inning, second and third, nobody out for Lourdes Gurriel Jr. He's going to poke one in front of Teoscar Hernandez in left. That's going to get down. Jake McCarthy scores. Jock Peterson getting the wave around third, and he's going to score. So no outs in this first inning, and the Diamondbacks already tied it up. 3 runs in the top of the first, 3 runs in the bottom. And let's just go back to the stat there. I said there, Corbin Carroll, the first D-backs player ever with a leadoff inside the park home run. And it's the first in MLB since 2022. And that was Kevin Kiermaier. How ironic is that Kevin Kiermaier hit the last leadoff inside the park homer, and he almost was able to make the play to prevent this one. Pretty wild. Pretty wild, I have to say. So now, 3-3 ball game here in the bottom of the first inning. Eugenio Suarez with runners on first and third and 1 away. Right center field, that one skied. Kevin Kiermaier there to make the play, but Lourdes Gurriel into tag. So the D-backs take the lead here, 4 runs in the bottom half of the first. So now we're going to move ahead here to the top of the second inning. Bases loaded, nobody out for Shohei Ohtani. Just misses that one to center field. Jake McCarthy is under it to make the play. Max Muncy tags from third. Going into third, diving in safely is Miguel Rojas. Shohei Ohtani ties this game back up 4-4. Later in the inning, Freddie Freeman first and third with 2 out. He's going to rip a base hit up the middle to give the Dodgers back the lead. They're back on top 5-4 here. Freddie Freeman 2 for 2 with a home run and a single. So now Lourdes Gurriel here. Second batter to face Gavin Stone here in the bottom of the third. High drive to deep left field. Looking up, that ball is gone. Game-tying solo home run from Lourdes Gurriel. That was an absolute moonshot, and we're tied up again, this time at 5. So now, after a 2-out double by Gavin Lux in the top of the 5th, that's going to bring up Max Muncy. He's going to poke that one into right field. One hops Corbin Carroll in right. Coming around third is Lux. He's going to score. The throw not in time, and the Dodgers take the lead again, 6-5. See that one ripped into right field. Corbin Carroll comes up firing, but just not enough on it. A little bit up the line as well allows Gavin Lux to slide in behind it. So moving ahead now to the bottom of the 7th inning. Corbin Carroll, the right fielder at the dish, homered inside the park earlier to load up to lead off this ball game. Luis Guillorme aboard at third as the tying run. Corbin Carroll gets into one to right field. Mookie Betts back at the track, makes a nice leaping catch, but Luis Guillorme is going to be able to tag and tie this game. So a great play from Mookie Betts in right to prevent extra bases on that one, but a sac fly from Corbin Carroll knocks things back up. We start over again, 6-6. So now going all the way to the 9th inning now. Score remains 6-6. Dodgers have runners on second and third. Chris Taylor at third, Gavin Lux aboard at second. 0-1 pitch to Miguel Rojas, line to second base, and Luis Guillorme makes a full extension diving play to keep this game tied. What a play from Guillorme. Great reactions. One step and a dive all the way up to his right. Great play to keep this one knotted up at 6. So now 2 away here. Dodgers looking to go on top in the top of the 9th. Still runners on second and third. Tommy Edman pokes one off the end of the bat. That's going to get in for a base hit in front of Carroll. Taylor scores, Lux scores, 8-6. The Dodgers take the lead here in the 9th off of a single from Tommy Edman. Good piece of hitting there on the changeup, looked like there, to stay on it. So now we go to the bottom half. Evan Phillips looking to finish this one up. 2 outs facing the switch hitting Josh Bell. He flies one to right center field. Kiermaier is going to, that's Chris Taylor who subbed in to make the play for the final out. So the Dodgers win this crazy back and forth ball game 8-6 after they started the game with back-to-back-to-back home runs from their 3 MVPs at the top of the order, Shohei, Mookie, and Freddie, followed up by a wild inside the park homer in the bottom of the first. They lose the lead, eventually fight their way back and win it in 9-8-6. So a great game that was in the desert. Huge games between these two and potential for another playoff series like we saw last year. So now, showed you the home run robbery montage, showed you the game of the week. So now the standings update. And like I mentioned, just under a month left to go in the season, so things are really starting to matter now. The New York Yankees on top of the Orioles. They have a half-game lead over Baltimore. Aaron Judge became the 42nd player in Yankees history to reach 1,000 hits, first one since Brett Gardner in 2017. Aaron Judge and Juan Soto became the third pair of teammates each to have 10 or more home runs and 20 or more walks in a single month. They were the first pair to do it since 1939, and the other two pairs to do it, Lou Gehrig and Babe Ruth, did it in 31, and that 1939 pair I just mentioned was Ted Williams and Vern Stevens. Baltimore Orioles, just mentioned, a half game behind the Yankees. They are 4 games ahead of Kansas City and Minnesota, who are actually tied with the same percentage record. They don't have the same record, but it's the same percentage points. So, yeah, Baltimore holds the top spot with 4 games ahead of Kansas City, Minnesota, and they're tied for that second and third. Orioles have 9 players have at least 10 home runs this year. That's the most in the major leagues. Anthony Santander just hit his 150th home run of his career. And Zach Eflin, the trade deadline acquisition for this Orioles team, has been great, has won 5 games in a row since joining the team. Just the second Orioles pitcher ever to win his first 5 games with the team, joining Jack Harshman, who did it back in 1958. The Boston Red Sox, still 3 games over 500, but 4.5 games out of that last wild card spot. Jarren Duran, their leadoff hitter and center fielder, has been unbelievable this year. First player in the history of baseball with 40 doubles, 10 triples, 20 home runs, and 30 steals in a season. And he's just 6. Or excuse me, just the 5th player in Red Sox history to have 20 or more home runs and 10 or more steals in a single season. The Tampa Bay Rays, 2 games under 500, 7 games behind the last wildcard spot. It's looking like it's about to be done for Tampa Bay. The Blue Jays, 5 games under 500, actually just had their longest win streak of the year, 5 games in a row, ended earlier this week. And Will Wagner, the son of Billy Wagner, became the first Blue Jays rookie to have a 5-hit game. So he's been very good offensively, but the Blue Jays are going to have to wait till next year. National League East, the Philadelphia Phillies, they have a 7-game lead over the Atlanta Braves. They just capped off a series win with a walk-off base hit by Nick Castellanos on Sunday Night Baseball in an 11-inning affair against the Braves. Castellanos actually knocked in all 3 runs in that ball game to walk off the Braves 3-2. And that was the 4th walk-off hit of the season, or 4th walk-off RBI of the season for Nick Castellanos. 4 walk-off RBIs in a single season are tied for the most in Phillies history since RBIs became an official stat in 1920. So the Phillies 7 games ahead of the Braves with about a month to go. And the Braves do hold that 3rd wildcard spot right now, just 1 game ahead of the Mets for that final spot. And Chris Sale, probably going to win the Cy Young in the National League. Bounce back season for Chris Sale. He's been unbelievable. He just set a Braves record for the most strikeouts in a single season by a left-handed pitcher, 197 and counting. And Braves starters have been unbelievable over this past, let's say, month or so. They've allowed 3 runs or fewer in 21 straight games. That's the Braves' longest single-season streak since the mound was moved to its current distance back in 1893. So this staff has been great. Chris Sale, Ronaldo Lopez, Charlie Morton, they've been holding down the fort. And since 1901, there have only been 3 pitchers to have 100 or more strikeouts and less than 20 walks in their first 15 appearances. Those 3 are Steven Strasburg in 2010-11, had 103 strikeouts, only 17 walks. Masahiro Tanaka had 119 walks, only 17 walks as well. And Spencer Swellenbach, the rookie for the Braves, 102 strikeouts with only 18 walks. He's been very good. The New York Mets sitting at 73-64, game behind Atlanta for that final wildcard spot. And Pete Alonso, the slugging first baseman, just passed Mike Piazza for 3rd all-time on the Mets home run list with 221 bombs. He's behind only Darryl Strawberry and David Wright now. And he just became the 2nd Met in franchise history to hit 30 or more home runs in 4 consecutive seasons. He joined Mike Piazza, who did it from 1999 all the way to 2002. And the Mets just had a huge week against the series against the Padres and the D-backs. They split a 4-game series against the Padres 2-2, and then they won a massive series against the Diamondbacks at Chase Field. They won Game 1, and then in Game 2, the D-backs were leading 4-0. The Mets fought back to take a 5-4 lead, but then in the bottom of the 8th inning, Corbin Carroll hit a go-ahead grand slam that held up to give the D-backs the win. It was the 9th go-ahead grand slam in the D-backs by the D-backs in the 8th inning or later in franchise history, and it was the first one in 10 years. And the Mets, in that Game 3 of that series, won Game 3 on a 9th inning single by Jose Iglesias. So, oh my God, he's been great and continues to make big plays and have big hits for this Mets team. The Nationals, 61-76. Dylan Cruz, the highly touted first rounder, second overall pick in the draft, made his debut on Monday. He became the 3rd Nationals player since they moved to Washington in 2005, because obviously they were the Montreal Expos, to have his first MLB hit off of a former Cy Young winner. Had his first hit, blistering double off the bottom of the left field wall off of Garrett Cole, last year's Cy Young winner. So pretty impressive. And he hit second in that game. And then he went down to 7th, picked up a hit against Cole, moved all the way back to leadoff spot, and then he hit a leadoff home run for his first career home run. Second player in Nationals history whose first career home run was a leadoff bomb. And then he hit another home run the next day. First Nationals rookie with a home run in back-to-back games in 2 years. And then Dylan Cruz, the next day, picked up an outfield assist at 96.5 miles an hour. So 2 home runs, first career hit off a Cy Young winner, and an outfield assist in your first week in the majors. Pretty solid from Dylan Cruz, and he already is showing the 5 tools that he could be. Or the 5-tool star that he could be. The Marlins still sitting 35 games under 500. Griffin Conine, the son of Jeff Conine, Mr. Marlin, made his made his first start on Tuesday. He went 2 for 3 with a triple. His first career hit was a triple, and he hosed right off the plate from deep right field. So Mr. Marlin's son, Jeff Conine, Griffin Conine, first play. Of course, he's on the Marlins and having a good first week in the majors. So over to the Central Divisions, the Cleveland Guardians have a 3.5 game lead over Kansas City and Minnesota, as they are tied, mentioned that before. Emmanuel Clase is having one of the best reliever seasons I've ever seen in my lifetime, and he should definitely be up for the Cy Young. Tariq Skubal is going to win the Cy Young in the American League as he leads the entire league in strikeouts, ERA, and opponent batting average, But Emmanuel Clase deserves to be probably second, right behind him in that Cy Young voting. He just broke the all-time Cleveland saves record. 150 saves for Emmanuel Clase, passes Cody Allen for the franchise all-time record. He's got 40 saves this season, becoming the 11th pitcher in MLB history with 3 consecutive 40 or more save seasons. First for a Cleveland pitcher, and just the 11th ever. The Minnesota Twins hold the tiebreaker over the Kansas City Royals. And last night just won a big game. 3-run home run when they were down by 2 in the bottom of the 8th inning from Royce Lewis. Massive win gets them atop of the Royals. The Royals, though, have had a little bit of a struggle. 3.5 game behind Cleveland. They just had a very, very up and down week. So they just played. So to start this week, right after last week's episode on Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday, they played 4 games, a doubleheader on Monday, and then 2 more games against Cleveland. And they were 4 games behind Cleveland going into that series. So they won the first 3. They tie Cleveland, and because of the tiebreakers, Kansas City was in first place for a day. The next day, the last game of the series, Kansas City was actually winning 5-2 going into the 7th. They blew the game, end up losing 7-5, and they go a game back. So still, they're right there behind Cleveland after taking 3 out of 4. They had a chance to sweep them and take the division, but still 1 game behind. They go into a series against the Astros, and they get swept. Blown out in this series against the Astros, and in the second game, their first baseman, RBI leader, 97 RBIs, 4th in the American League, Vinny Pasquantino, breaks his thumb trying to catch a ball up the line and gets ran into by the runner. So Vinny Pasquantino breaks his thumb, and they've lost 5 in a row. So brutal blow for this team. They've signed Tommy Pham, they've signed Yuli Gurriel, so looking to get some help here, but really, really weird week for the Royals. Started off so good, moving themselves into first place for a day, and then everything is crashing down, 5 losses in a row, and Vinny Pasquantino breaks his thumb. So they're going to have to get things figured out really soon. Only about 3 weeks to go in the season. Salvador Perez just hit his 6th career grand slam for his 2nd home run of the game to cap up a doubleheader sweep of Cleveland, just like I talked about. And Cole Reagans, 189 strikeouts, a new Royals single-season record for a lefty, and Reagans also tied the Royals record for 8 strikeouts in a row to start a game. Bobby Witt Jr. hit his 30th home run of the year yesterday, becoming the second Kansas City player ever with multiple 30 home run seasons and the first to do it in consecutive years. The Detroit Tigers on a heater right now, 2 games over 500, getting up to 70 and 68. And they're only 5 games back of an AL wildcard spot. Sure, 5 games with only 3 weeks left is a struggle, but it's possible. They've gotten themselves into contention. They had their longest win streak since 2022, 6 wins in a row that was snapped over this past week. They are above 500 this late in the season for the first time since 2016. They had 86 wins that year, so potential for some sneakiness at the end of the year. Tariq Skubal becoming the 4th left-handed pitcher in Tigers history to reach 200 strikeouts, joining Mickey Lolich, Hal Newhouser, and Matthew Boyd. And Riley Green just hit his 20th home run of the year, the 11th player 23 or younger to hit 20 home runs in Tigers history. And the White Sox, man, talked about them at the jump of this. 31 and 107. Ridiculous, man, just ridiculous. 104 losses through 134 games is the most in the history of baseball. Mentioned they only have 31 wins and 31 blown saves. They're 9 and 27 in one-run games. They've been swept 22 times. They've set a single-season franchise record already with 107 losses. They just finished an 0-10 homestand, the first time they've ever had an 0-10 homestand in the history of the franchise. They have 3 separate 10-game losing streaks this season, and they've lost 40 of their last 44 games. That's the second team in the modern era after 1900 to have a stretch of 40 losses over a 44-game span in a single season. The only other team was the 1916 A's, who lost 41 out of 44. And they're on pace for 127 losses, which would be the second most of all time. Mentioned this at the beginning. The only other team to lose more is the 1899 Cleveland Spiders. And that season was only 154 games. That Cleveland Spiders team lost 134 of 154. So this White Sox team is on pace to lose the most games in a 162-game season in baseball history. Lot to take in there, but just know it's historically bad. The National League Central now, the Milwaukee Brewers have a 9-game lead in this division. Jackson Chourio hit a 449-foot homer off the scoreboard that broke a scoreboard panel. The Milwaukee Brewers actually gifted him that scoreboard panel that he broke, but it's the longest home run by a Brewer this season and the longest home run of his career. Jackson Chourio, the young phenom, the 21-year-old, has been unbelievable. And Willy Adames has a home run in 4 straight games, the longest streak of his career. The first Brewers shortstop to have multiple 25-plus home run seasons, and the first Brewers player to hit homer in 4 straight games since Christian Yelich in 2019. The Chicago Cubs. What the hell is going on with the Chicago Cubs? The Cubs have been really one of the most mediocre teams in all of baseball. This NL Central division has really been one of the most mediocre divisions in general from bottom to top besides the Brewers all year. The Cubs just decided to go on a heater of all heaters. They're only 3 games back of the last wildcard spot now behind the Braves, and they just went on a ridiculous stretch. They just scored 14 or more runs for the 4th time in their last 8 games yesterday. Only 2 teams have scored 14 runs 4 times all year. And they've done it 4 times in the last 8 games. 4 times this week, basically. Unbelievable. They're on a historic pace for offense. They had 8 steals in a game for the first time since 1913. Pete Crow Armstrong had 3 of them. Pete Crow Armstrong just had an unbelievable series also against the Pirates. He had multiple 3-game hits. One of them was 4. Stole 3+ bases in a game. He had 4 or more runs in a game. And no rookie, has done all those in a single series since 1901. The Cubs came back from down 10-3 in the 7th inning to complete the sweep against the Pirates. They ended up winning the game 14-10. And no team had won when trailing by at least 7 runs in the 7th inning or later in their last 1,754 games. 0 in 1,754. The Cubs made that 1 in 1,754 on Wednesday. Miguel Amaya became the first Cubs catcher with 2 or more hits in 5 straight games since Tyler Houston back in 1998. The Cubs scored 73 runs in a 7-game span for the first time since 1961. And they scored 99 runs in their last 10 games. 99 runs in their last 10 games, and I just mentioned 14 or more runs for 4 games out of their last 8. Ridiculous. The St. Louis Cardinals been a little bit of a struggle for them. Only one game over 500, 69-68. Still 5 games back of that final wild card spot. And they just got a series win at Yankee Stadium against the Yankees. And it was the first time they won a game at Yankee Stadium since 1964. Kyle Gibson got the win on the mound for the Cardinals, and he's the first St. Louis pitcher to record a win at Yankee Stadium, any variation of Yankee Stadium, since Bob Gibson in Game 5 of the 1964 World Series. And that was the last time they won in the Bronx, and they ended up winning that series in the Bronx, capped off by a 5-hit game in the series finale by Jordan Walker. He became the youngest Cardinal with a 5-hit game since 1916, and that was Rogers Hornsby. So pretty elite company there. Jordan Walker, also his first home run of the year in this game. Cincinnati Reds, my pick to win this division. They're not going to make the playoffs. They're 9.5 games behind the final NL wildcard spot, and it's basically done for the Reds. The Pirates, 10 games under 500. They blew a 10-3 lead against the Cubs on Wednesday. 10-3 in the 7th. They lose the game 14-10. No team had ever won when trailing by at least 7 in the 7th inning or later, and the Cubs won. And Andrew McCutchen, I actually saw him play 2 weeks ago on a game when Paul Skeens pitched, and he got an RBI double, or RBI single, I guess, because he got hurt. Hurt his knee on that play, came out of the game. 10 to IL. In his first game back off the IL, the boy, 2 RBI double in his second at-bat. Later in the game, Pirates down by 3. Homers off of Emmanuel Clase. Just the second home run of the season given up by Cleveland closer. His 17th of the year for Andrew McCutchen, but not enough. The Pirates lost 10-8, but McCutchen, just the second home run of the year off of Emmanuel Clase. He's a dog. And to the Western divisions, the Astros in the American League lead this division by 6 games over the Seattle Mariners. Yordan Alvarez had a 3-home run game on Wednesday, 3 straight home runs and 3 straight at-bats. Third career 3-home run game, first in 2 years. The Astros have had 6 no-hitters since 2019, and in that span since 2019, they've had 17 no-hit bids of 7 or more innings. That's insane. The next closest team is San Diego with 8, so almost 10 more than the next closest team. Astros pitching is unbelievable. The Mariners, 6 games behind Houston and 5.5 games behind that last AL wildcard spot. This offense is unbelievably bad. I don't think they're going to make the playoffs. They're only a game above 500. The Rangers, 65-72. They're 10 games back in the division and 9.5 games back at the last wildcard spot. I think it's safe to say that the defending champions are done. There will be a new champion in baseball this year. The Rangers are not going to make the playoffs. David Robertson just passed Mariano Rivera for 12th all-time on the reliever strikeout list. That's pretty impressive. Corey Seager became the first purely left-handed hitting shortstop to reach 200 career home runs and the 15th shortstop overall. That's a pretty wild stat. The first only lefty shortstop to have 200 home runs. I guess some switch hitters have done it, and righties, but that's crazy. And they've won back-to-back games via walk-off for the first time since 2021. Speaking of walk-offs, they just walked off my A's yesterday and on Saturday. Tough scenes for me. A's are 59-78. The final month of Oakland baseball kicked off in a poor way yesterday with the walk-off. Mason Miller has converted 23 saves in 26 opportunities now after yesterday. That ties him for second on the all-time rookie save list in Oakland history, just behind Andrew Bailey, and he's tied with Houston Street. Actually ahead of Raleigh Fingers. J.J. Bleday became the first A's player in history to have an outfield assist, 5 hits that include a home run in the same game. In that same game, Lawrence Butler had his second 3-home run game of the season. Butler's 3rd homer tied the game in the 9th. The A's later took the lead. They did end up getting walked off by the Reds, so 3 times the A's have gotten walked off this week. Rough week for the green and gold. Butler, second 3-home run game of the season, like I mentioned. 5 home runs in 3 games against Cincinnati, and 6 home runs over 5 games on the road trip. Lawrence Butler is just the second A's player ever with multiple 3-home run games in a season, joining with Geronimo Berroa back in 1996. He's the 25th player ever to have multiple 3-home run games in a single season, first time since Aaron Judge did it last year. And he's just the 3rd player to be 24 or younger to have 3 home runs twice in a year. Mookie Betts did it in 2016, and Ralph Kiner did it in 1947. The A's, though, became the first team in the history of baseball to have a player have 3 or more home runs, Lawrence Butler, and another player have 5 or more hits, J.J. Bleday, and still lose the game. I mentioned Lawrence Butler had 6 home runs in 5 games over a 5-game road trip for the A's. He's the 3rd player this season to do it. Aaron Judge and Juan Soto, the other 2, those Yankee sluggers. And the first A's player to hit 6 homers in 5 games since Chris Davis in 2018. And the 5th ever. Lawrence Butler, Chris Davis, Danny Valencia, Geronimo Barroa, and Mark McGwire, the only A's to do it. And Lawrence Butler has had a wild turnaround for his season. In his first 50 games, he only had 35 total bases. In his last 50, 121. That's an increase of 86 total bases from his first 50 to his next 50. That's the largest improvement in any season in the modern era since 1901. He had the A's had 16 home runs on a 5-game road trip. That's the most in franchise history on a road trip, 6 games or fewer. And they have hit a home run in 25 consecutive games at Globe Life Field in Arlington, dating back all the way to July of 2021. So the A's continue to hit the home run at an unprecedented rate. Highest percentage of runs scored in baseball via the home run, the A's, and it's kind of not close. So rounding out the AL West, the Los Angeles Angels, Zach Neto just became the first Angels middle infielder to have a 20-homer, 20-steal season, and Neto and Mike Trout are the only Angels with a 2020 season before the age of 24. And wrapping things up with the National League West, the Los Angeles Dodgers, 82-55, sit 5 games ahead of Arizona after they took 2 of 3 from the Diamondbacks. Shohei had 6 games in August where he had a home run and a stolen base. That's the most in a calendar month since 1900. Shohei Ohtani joined A-Rod as the only players with a season with 42 home runs and 42 steals. And then Shohei just became the only player ever with 43 homers and 43 steals in the same year. Just the 2nd player ever Shohei Ohtani is with 10 home runs and 15 steals in a month, joining Carlos Beltran in 2004. Ohtani had 12 home runs in August, that led the National League. 15 steals in August, led all of baseball. First player to lead his league outright in both home runs and steals in the same month since Willie Mays in September of 1956. Just every week, it's a new Shohei Ohtani stat that no one's ever done before. Diamondbacks, 17 games over 500, but still 5 games behind the Dodgers. They are tied percentage-wise with San Diego, but they do hold that first wildcard spot based off of tiebreakers. Mentioned that huge series they lost to the Mets. They lost Game 1 and Game 3, sandwiched between a go-ahead grand slam that Corbin Carroll hit in the bottom of the 8th inning to give them their lone win. And Corbin Carroll's leadoff inside the park home run was the first in Diamondbacks history and the first in Major League Baseball since Kevin Kiermaier in 2022. The San Diego Padres, also 5 games behind the Dodgers, tied with Arizona, but they do hold that second wildcard spot. Jackson Merrill just tied Frank Robinson from 1956 for the most game-tying or go-ahead home runs in the 8th inning or later with 6. Merrill is just the 7th Padres rookie to have 20 home runs. He hit number 21 on Sunday. Jackson Merrill's 79 RBIs are tied for the most by a Padres rookie, tied with Benito Santiago, who did it in 1987. Kyle Higashioka, the former New York Yankee backstop, hit a home run on Wednesday, and it was the Padres' 17th home run in the 8th inning or later that tied or gave them the lead. The next closest is Baltimore with 12, and Manny Machado now tied with Adrian Gonzalez, Agons, for second in club history with 161 home runs for the Padres. The San Francisco Giants sitting 2 games under 500, 6.5 games back of that last wildcard spot. It's looking like it's going to be a little bit too late here. And Dusty Baker's son, Darren, got his first hit. I don't know why I put this in the Giants one. I put Darren Baker's on the Nationals. I put this in the Giants one because his dad, that clip, oh my God. So Dusty Baker's son, Darren Baker, got his first hit on the first pitch he ever saw in the major leagues. And Darren Baker, the last time we saw him was when he was the bat boy in the World Series in 2002, and he almost got taken out at the plate by JT Snow, who had to pick him up and save him. So Darren Baker accidentally put this one in the Giants one, but sorry about it. Seems like the Giants season is over also, unless something crazy happens. And to round things up, the Colorado Rockies, 36 games under 500, became the 4th team in the StatCast era since 2015 to hit back-to-back home runs that each went 450 feet. That was Charlie Blackmon and Ezekiel Tovar. So that's going to do it for us here. 1 month to go in this MLB season. So much to happen. A bunch of wildness to happen. So hopefully we get the crazy finishes we want. The division races are heating up. The wild card races are heating up. But hopefully within the next week or two, we're going to have a real good idea of what these playoff pictures are going to look like. So this is actually going to be the last week with just one episode. NFL starts on Thursday, so on Tuesday of next week, we'll be back with the NFL weekly recap. So on Mondays, we're going to do MLB. Tuesdays, we're going to do NFL, and we're going to do that until baseball's over, and then we'll go strictly NFL. So hopefully you enjoyed this one on the Valentine Sports Show. Follow us on Instagram, Twitter, TikTok, all that good stuff. And any questions about the Valentine Sports Academy, hit up the bvacademy.com. So that's it for this one. I'm Frank Rampin. Peace out.